In the last few hours, the crypto ecosystem has exploded. In this video, we will analyze the potential continuation of this bullish momentum in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the entire crypto ecosystem. I'll let you know in advance that Solana's chart is the altcoin that will become our favorite indicator to anticipate the possible continuation or failure of this impulsive move. Returning to the foundation where it all began, we must not forget this macro defense zone in this 4-hour time frame where we are analyzing Bitcoin. On May 2nd, when we identified this market trap, which I still remember, and it's recorded. How did we assess this bearish movement as a potential market trap, which would be very positive for the crypto ecosystem? Aside from this, after witnessing this recovery and test over the defense zone, this simple event already made us remain positive about the entire ecosystem. In the end, when looking at Ethereum, we had been following this inverse corrective pattern where we saw the W. This is the weak EI, and this wedge was our Z, which we were speculating would break upwards sooner or later to trigger a strong and impulsive movement. Okay, now that we see we are facing a Z, this Z can stretch as much as it wants. We don't know until when. It's a complete mystery. In summary, this could continue to fall, but we will never lose sight that we are facing an inverse Z. In other words, here we need to assess if the defense zone remains protected, and soon we will be aiming for that macro Z. We will return to Ethereum later, but continuing with Bitcoin, it's not something that happens very often, but in this case, Bitcoin's price was our favorite indicator to continue prioritizing upward movements. Such is the case that we had been observing an advanced trend line, which we already analyzed its upward break, and we were betting that at some point this creek. This horizontal level you are seeing, when the price was at this point, we valued that at some moment this creek tends to break upwards, and all based on the concept of a market trap, the importance we give to the test, the confirmation of a defense zone, and the overcoming of an advanced trend line to a larger creek. All of this pointed us in a bullish direction. Notice how in this 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, we have been working on a bearish trap, which we consider very important, and we see how after the trap, the price has come to test a defense zone. Remember that we placed great importance on prioritizing a bullish market, as this trap forced us to be positive about the crypto ecosystem. Now, if we analyze how Bitcoin has been compressed against a relevant structure, which is the defense zone, depicted by the rectangle you see below. Yesterday afternoon, we were observing the break of the creek, which in other words is an advanced trend line that has gone to seek the larger creek. This level is the father of levels, and breaks of advanced trend lines are often preludes to breaks of larger structures. If we want to see a healthy bullish continuation and say that this range ends up being an accumulation process to take us higher, what should we then look for in this chart? Initially, to maintain aggressive bullish continuation, we must not lose this structure. Clearly, Bitcoin does not have to come to test this level. For us, it is a control point. What do I mean by this? It does not have to visit that level, and Bitcoin could simply break, test, and move on sooner rather than later. As for Cardano, we were analyzing a similar trend line, where after seeing a tremendous bullish impulse, we analyzed with order flow where that level was that we did not want to see lost to expect aggressive market continuity. The first point was here, and the second point was at these levels. The task was not to buy so high, but to wait for the pullback to one of these levels, and if that level was not surpassed, then to wait for aggressive continuity in the market. Here we will observe that if the entire ecosystem is impacting key levels, knocking on the door asking to be let through, and then you see Cardano doing its own thing, breaking structures. Be very careful with Cardano, as this trend might be driven wildly. So, how can we remain optimistic about Cardano? First, buying right here is something kamikaze. So how can we follow this positive market idea? Well, if we see that the level of $47.22 and $46.48 are not surpassed, meaning that smart money defends one level or the other, and they cannot be surpassed, this will imply that the dominant force continues to control the market trend. And now that we have revisited why there was a clear bullish priority in the crypto ecosystem, let's analyze why Solana is so important at this moment, as Solana and other cryptos, of course, will help us understand if we continue prioritizing looking up or if the trend is about to reverse. I'll share that with you now, but first, welcome to Crypto Insight, your ethical and moral channel for cryptocurrency technical analysis. Here, we really know what we're talking about. We conduct advanced technical analysis that has been developed for over 12 years. We upload videos several times a week. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, let me know and leave a comment with your opinion. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so you don't miss the next opportunity. Okay, what are we seeing in Bitcoin? Without a doubt, we are extremely close to the all-time high, just a few points away. While it is true that we have just reached the top of this bearish channel, if I'm honest, I wouldn't be putting barriers in the field. What do I mean? That, of course, this structure exists, and there it is. But I wouldn't obsess over thinking that undoubtedly because we have this structure, we have to retrace. While it makes sense to expect some kind of reaction, I wouldn't obsess over the retracement unless Solana says otherwise. I'll explain this shortly. As we look at Bitcoin where it currently stands, let's now turn to Ethereum. Notice how we have updated structures, as the previous structures have already been very useful, if you ask me, and we are grateful for their existence. We are analyzing that we are coming from a black swan event, breaking through a macro structure with strong violence. Frankly, this is something we should not forget. And if we now analyze this bullish accumulation process and look for the institutional target of this accumulation, the first target, notice how it leads us to the price level of $3,720, just the level where Ethereum, after the strong explosion, has decided to start a mini retracement. But as I said with Bitcoin, it seems very imprudent to see here a cannon that shoots you right in the stomach and think that standing there, you will be able to withstand it and turn the market around. We must remember that a cannon just fired at us. In other words, we have a very aggressive cannon shot here, so it wouldn't be prudent to try to predict where the market will turn around. However, we must work with price structure to understand why the market is doing what it is doing, to assess and study what it might do next. That's why we have also identified this defense zone, which, if you ask me, doesn't have to have great strength due to the market's momentum. Considering Bitcoin is so close again to its all-time high and might close that gap it left on its last visit. To jog your memory, I'll show you I'm talking about this gap, a structural gap of a very key macro level, which would now be around almost $80,000, slightly below. So what we are seeing in Ethereum is that after this strong impulse, we are experiencing a correction that seems to be trying to continue. Here we need to see if it will be able to take everything in its path or fail in its attempt. That's why this defense zone, considering that we have the institutional target of this accumulation process there, makes it quite evident that we want to follow it closely. And now, to where the meat is, if you look at Cardano's chart, the price has recently, like Ethereum, but in a different structure, gone to seek its creek. And that's where it is responding right now. In other words, if we want to experience a macro bullish party for Cardano, overcoming this structure is essential to claim victory and then see a good revaluation in its price. As promised, if you look at Solana, remember that Solana is one of those altcoins that has enjoyed a good bullish trend. Recently, we have been analyzing this distribution, which in the end was nothing more than another macro Z, where the price had set a macro trend line to follow. We have been studying that this bearish impulse is working on a corrective pattern, where we see the W. This is a weak Y, and now we are witnessing in real time the formation of a Z. That's why I have been saying that Solana at this moment is our favorite technical indicator, because no other cryptocurrency analyzed in this video, where we analyze Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and Solana to follow the crypto market, gives us such valuable information. And if you still don't know what valuable information Solana is giving us, I'll explain it now. Keep in mind, before listening to this high-value explanation, that of course Solana does not move the entire crypto ecosystem. Rather, we use Solana as a proxy for the ecosystem, characterized by a Z. Quite simply, its extension is indeterminate. In other words, it can keep rising as much as it wants, and it would be quite imprudent to try to reverse the market while we don't have confirmation that the bullish trend of Solana's Z has not come to an end. And why is this important? Because when a Z like the one you are seeing in Solana, this one here, comes to an end, it will tend to return to the trend line that saw it. We are talking about this trend line. What does this tell us? Simply put, it means that Solana, and thus the altcoins, and therefore also Bitcoin and Ethereum, are currently in a bullish trend, which will remain bullish until the Z, as a proxy of Solana, informs us that it is ready to start its bearish movement. And hey, it is prudent to be analyzing this because Bitcoin is at the top of a macro structure, Ethereum is in a defense zone and at an institutional target, and Cardano is at a creek. So I think it is very prudent to keep following this Z, because hey, this Z, if it wants, can extend and extend and extend, which would simply mean that Ethereum's defense zone is lost, that Cardano ends up breaking its creek and goes to look for the institutional target of its accumulation, and that Bitcoin, hey, goes to close the gap. What do I mean by this? Clearly, we don't know what will happen in the market, but what Solana offers us very kindly is an indication that the crypto ecosystem will continue to rise until proven otherwise. For the moment, Solana doesn't give us full guarantees that the price will turn around, but we are already monitoring the POC of this entire distribution to see if these sellers will want to defend their position at the current point. It's not any kind of guarantee, because if these distributing sellers step aside, the Z will continue to be explosive. Therefore, let's follow Solana's Z closely, and when its price allows and shows us structural breaks, we will then prioritize the bearish path. In the meantime, as long as the Z continues its path, we are bullish. But when key structures break with strength, we will then begin to consider a contrary-bearish idea. Now tell me, what do you think about using an altcoin as a proxy to follow the crypto ecosystem? Is this something you've never seen before? Leave me your opinion in the comments. And if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell so YouTube notifies you of future posts. Good luck with your trading and see you next time.